Hello and welcome to episode 12 of series 5 of the Engaging Internal Comms podcast. This is the show for employee engagers and internal communicators who like to keep up to date with all that is new in our profession. For those of you who know us at the Big Picture People, you'll know that we use visualisation to help organisations to communicate complex messages. As well as communicating, it helps them to understand their issues, their challenges, their opportunities from a very different perspective. So visualisation is use of one of our senses to be able to do work like that. But what about auditory? What about sound? And what about particularly music could be used to help organisations to communicate and connect their people together? So that's what we're going to be exploring in today's episode. How can music be used as a tool to unlock conversations, discussions, and ideas within our organizations to help them to make sense of the world that they're living in, but also to connect them to things that we're trying to help them to understand? Maybe it's our mission, our vision, our values, and our strategies. So our guest today specialises in using music for that very purpose, for team building, but also for helping organisations to really connect their people together around their strategy and also their other key organisational priorities. So that's what we're going to be looking at, and it's kind of carrying on our theme of looking at off the beaten path topics for the show that I know you appreciate. So I hope you enjoy this interview. I found it a really fantastic conversation. My guest today is Sam McNeil. Sam was voted as the top 5 speakers in Spice Magazine's Hot 100 and one of Eventec's 100 most influential people in the event industry. Sam McNeil is one of the most globally in-demand corporate MCs and facilitators. He's facilitated over 700 in-person, virtual, and hybrid experiences, including musical team-building workshops, gala award events, and product launches on 4 continents. Sam holds a degree in classical music studies from Sydney Conservatorium of Music and is an accredited Wiley Disc facilitator. So, hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm excited to be here. It's a great way to finish off the week, and hearing all that back, I feel a little bit embarrassed. But thank you for the lovely introduction.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's a nice way to introduce it, particularly relevant to what we're going to be talking about. So, I guess just for our listeners, picking up on your accent, they're going to and your attendance at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, I guess, with a distinctive Australian twang. But you're not in Australia. Tell us where our listeners where you are, Sam.
I'm not. I'm coming to you live from a little town called Surbiton, just outside of London in Surrey, along the Thames from Kingston and Wimbledon. Been over here in the UK now for just over 8 years, almost exactly 8 years, actually.
Excellent, fantastic. Yes, definitely. And we met up really kind of a chance encounter. Really, I think
We did.
we connected on LinkedIn, and I was fascinated by the work that you're doing at the moment. So I'm really intrigued. Sam, I'm going to let you say it in
Sure.
your own words because you can do it far more justice than I can. And you've been there for 12 years now, I think. At Song Division, tell us a little bit about what Song Division does, and then we're going to dig into a little bit more about why what you do works so well.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so Song Division, well, we do lots of different things for different clients and different people, but everything we do revolves around the idea that music is, in my opinion, I'm a little bit biased, but probably the most powerful tool in the world when it comes to all kinds of things that surpass entertainment. We know that music's incredibly entertaining, and most people love going to concerts, listening to music, but music can be so much more powerful than that. And we can talk about how organizations can use that in a little bit. But we know that music is an incredible tool for helping people bond and connect. We know that music is a great experiential learning tool. We know that music and memory are incredibly linked. And there's obviously a lot of science and research behind all that and what music does to the brain. When we listen to music, when we sing in choirs, when we go to live music concerts, and when we're releasing oxytocin and activating parts of the brain like the prefrontal cortex, and then even getting into general health and well-being and how music can help relieve stress and anxiety and promote positivity, which promotes productivity, which brings it back to why it can be used so powerfully in organizations. So yeah, we really just explore and celebrate the power of music to do all kinds of beautiful, weird, and wonderful things, and how you can use that in your own team or in your own organization to motivate your staff, help them bond, help them come together, help communicate your internal messages, and even more. So yeah, I feel very lucky. I get to travel
Mm.
around the world and make people happy and share that power of music with them.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah, and I can speak with experience 'cause I've attended one of
Yeah.
your events, and it was really interesting. And I mean, I guess I guess people will be listening and thinking, okay, so what do you do? Do you kind of just you sort of sit them down and you play music to them? It's a lot more interactive than that.
Mm,
And again, rather than me explaining
I
it,
will.
what would a typical song division experience look and feel like, or
Yeah.
sound like as well? Of course.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll talk you through. We've had a huge week this week. Something that's very popular with Song Division and our clients is kickoffs,
Mm,
or events where they're bringing the team together or the organisation from across the world or across Europe and trying to get them excited and motivated for their goals for the year and the strategy and how they're going to overcome the challenges. So yeah, we were in Wales yesterday with the biggest pharmaceutical in the world. There's about 340 of them,
mm,
and we had 90 minutes with them, and we created one completely original song about everything I just discussed, about
mm.
what are their goals for the year, how will they get there, why is the team so important, when collaboration so important, and we created a completely original song about it. I should preface that by saying I'm sure the listeners are currently picturing what sounds like the bad episode of The Office. uh, I'm aware of that, and
Yeah.
I love that idea. That what I will say, it's definitely not a bunch of sort of facilitators with a couple of acoustic guitars holding hands. And one of the other great highlights of my job is I bring the best session musicians on the planet. I know you know what a session musician is, but for
Mm,
those who don't, it's musicians who tour and record with the biggest stars on the planet. So yeah, yesterday I had with me Bob Knight, who's played and plays drums for everyone from Sting to Rita Ora. We had the Spice Girls bass player there. We had, people who've worked with Duran Duran,
mm.
and we use these incredible musicians so that we can create what we call is a team building experience, which is actually heavily disguised as a rock concert.
Yeah.
So high energy, highly interactive. The group creates all the lyrics. The group chooses the chords. The group chooses the style of music. They have to do everything. We're there to make it sound good and make sure it all works. But part of I think what makes it so successful is that the groups are very much in control and have the responsibility for what that output is. And then that evening we were the gala entertainment band as well. So we're doing stings for the award
Ah,
winners. We're doing the party
brilliant.
sets. So yeah, trying to tie in, I guess, a fairly popular phrase right now you would know as well, is things like edutainment
Yeah,
and
yeah,
gamification and
yeah.
using creative arts to experiential learning and tying that all together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess that what you've said there is a really important part of what you do. Is a kind no previous experience required. Is a kind
Yes,
of an underwrite because I guess I know when I came along. I mean, I'm certainly no session musician, but I kind of know a little bit about
you
music
play a
and
bit
play
of
music.
music, don't
I
you?
do,
Yeah,
I do. But I guess I was thinking, how would this work? How is this going to work for people who
yeah,
are not musical, or they maybe like music but they can't play an instrument, and actually, I was really impressed with it. You didn't need to know anything
you
about,
don't,
obviously there was you needed to know what music is as a
of
concept, but
course.
you didn't need to have any kind of technical skills, and that meant it was very inclusive, and I really enjoyed it. And so yeah, so if anyone's thinking, well, how does that work for people who can't play? Well, it doesn't matter, so everybody gets
Definitely
involved.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and when we announced that, at the start of the sessions, we're going to write an original song. Like I said, there is a sense of the group sort of, about a third of the room's excited, and most of the room is thinking, "This is my worst nightmare." They're gonna make me sing on stage, or it's
Yeah.
X Factor, or
Mm.
whatever it might be. And my counterpart in the US, our song division general manager there, he says he coined this joke that I stole from him, which is, don't worry, no one needs any musical ability and no one needs to know how to sing. It's just like the real music industry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Too true, too true. Yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, yeah. No, so anyway, no, that's really good. So I guess now we've kind of
Mm,
understood what it is that you
mhm.
do. I'm kind of like intrigued to get a little bit under the skin of how why it works.
Why?
And I say again, I know this is where what you do really resonated with me because as you know,
Yeah.
what we do is
Mm.
we create bespoke illustrations.
Uh-huh.
We get people to kind of communicate and think visually and get them to
Yes.
sort of talk about their challenges and see connections between things, pictorially. And I
Yes.
guess what we find from that is that employs a different part of their brain. It means they can be a lot
Yes.
more creative. It means they can express their ideas in a way that isn't constrained by words and verbal language or any
Yes.
language. In that fact, that,
Yes.
and it's very inclusive in that respect. And I guess what you do is very similar, but using obviously auditory senses. So
Exactly.
yeah, so just from your kind of understanding the science. And I know with our business, it took me, we kind of did it and it worked, and then we kind of retro worked out why it
Yes.
worked. And I
Yes.
mean, yeah. So talk me through a little bit about and I using science with a small s, the
Yeah.
science behind what you do and why you think
Yeah.
it works as well as it does.
Yeah. Well, you've made a great point there. So Song Division's now this year will be 20 years old, and it was started by my boss and founder director Andy Sharp, and retrospectively, why it works was probably a similar situation. He worked at IBM at the time, but
Mm,
was a musician writing jingles and working in that world, and a friend of his who ran a sales team for a big telecommunications company in Australia said, "Oh, that sounds cool. Could you take us into a studio and we could write a song?" And to be honest, Andy, my boss, he thought that sounded like a terrible idea. And he's like, "Oh, that sounds horrible." But he said, "Well, we can grab a few beers, I can get some musicians, and we'll jump in a studio." And that was the first Song Division event in
mm,
2004. And I don't think anyone knew why that worked or why it would work or if it would work,
mm,
but it did work. And I think then we did a job with Virgin, and when Andy realised, oh, there's a business here, and he left
mm,
his job in the sort of finance and legal department at IBM to get more into it. And from there, it's an ongoing process, really. But we have invested a lot of time and energy and even money into our own white papers and research about why
mm,
that works. And
mm,
I touched on it at the start, but I think the main three things are what happens to the brain when we listen to music and when we perform music, which is we release oxytocin,
mm,
which is responsible for bonding. It's responsible for connecting humans and connecting communities that all around the world. When you look at music culturally across the world, that you'll see examples of that,
mm,
whether it's places like Africa or churches, wherever that might be. And it also is responsible for just those really feel good feelings and those and activating the prefrontal
mm,
cortex. And
mm,
when we activate the prefrontal cortex, that's when we're lowering our cortisol levels, we're lowering our metaphorical walls, we're letting people in, we're trusting others, we're showing our vulnerability, we're reducing stress and anxiety, we're thinking creatively, we're creatively problem solving, we're more open uh to weird and wonderful ideas,
mm.
like
Yeah,
you mentioned with what you do at Big Picture.
yeah.
It's about thinking differently. And when you're in a room, of a big organizational company conference, and you've got the accounts guys and the HR guys and the sales guys and the marketing guys, and that we every human is different, and we've all got different behaviors and personalities. But music has this ability to level everyone. It's called the universal language for a reason. No matter what language you speak, if you hear a song by Rachmaninoff, an instrumental song with no words, or any musician, it will generate an emotion that we all will align to, a similar
Yeah.
emotion. And it's almost hard to explain. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
hear certain song, and it makes you want to cry, and you don't really know
yeah,
why. And you hear another
yeah,
song, and it makes you want to go out for a run. And it's
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
why
yeah.
is that? It's just it's magic. It's
Yeah,
this thing that we might never fully understand.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I'm talking, and I'm in our exercise in our workshops. I even talking about music does that. So when we, one of the things we do at the start of our sessions before we even get into the music is we ask everyone to share with the people around them the first concert they ever attended,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that lights the room up, like almost as though you can feel the lighting buzzing in the room. The smiles on people's face because, again, like I mentioned, music and memory. So we're taken back to,
Mm.
mine was the first concert I really remember was Billy Joel and Elton John together at the Sydney
Wow.
Cricket Ground in
Mm.
1996. I'm 11 years old, and I still remember going, that's what I want to do with my life.
Mm.
And that still gives me goosebumps just talking about that. So I just find that incredible. I'm not even listening to music. I'm talking about music, and I'm pumped.
Yeah.
What's yours, by the way? I don't think I asked you. What's your first concert?
Well, mine would be a really weird one for a 9-year-old boy. But my dad was a jazz journalist,
Nice.
and he took me along to see Oscar Peterson, who is
Cool.
he's sadly not with us anymore, but
Mm,
he's an amazing Canadian jazz pianist. And so yeah,
nice.
that was my first gig, which wasn't it was a weird one, but I got exposed to a lot of jazz when I was younger, which I kind of like. Although I've got very eclectic music taste now, I still listen to a lot of jazz because my dad
Uh-huh.
still loves his jazz. So yeah, so that was my first gig. So not a kind of pop gig at
Yeah,
all.
but still, you remember it, I'm sure. I'm
Oh
sure you
yeah, yeah,
remember a
yeah.
certain way that you felt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and I know you did that exercise when I was at
Yeah.
your event, and I think another aspect of that, which I'm sure you have thought about before, but I kind of struck me was, we're all lots of organisations are into kind of sense of belonging in organizations at the moment, and particularly post COVID, I think we're still
Mm,
struggling with that to a certain extent. And
yeah.
I think exercises like that, where you can tell people about your first gig and what it meant and how how it made you feel. It's like, again, it's that bringing my full self to work, isn't it? And it's a
Exactly.
really nice, whereas if you ask somebody what football team they support, that can be a bit divisive. But if you ask them
Yeah.
what gig where they was the first gig they went to, or what music they like, or
Yeah.
and that's kind of, we're a lot more kind of understanding and accommodative of people's musical taste. So I really
100%.
like that, because it was like, yeah, my first gigs and the sort of music I like is very much about who I am and my kind of philosophy on life, and my
Yeah.
kind of rebelliousness as well. And
Yes.
so yeah, and I think it was good. It's good in that respect, but it's also really good from a kind of just well, this is who I am, and I'm proud of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And something that's really interesting, often at our events, we do ask the client or the group to arrange the seating so that people aren't sat with their normal colleagues or their people
yes,
that they work with every day. So that conversation might be between a receptionist and a CFO,
yeah,
and they think they've got nothing in common, based on their experience and their age and whatever. And the first concert for the receptionist might be, let's say it's, you know, Lady Gaga, and the
yeah,
CFO's first concert's Tony Bennett, and then they've done 2 albums together,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, that's cool. Or
And
it's
there's a connection.
Madonna. There's a
Yeah,
connection there. Or,
yeah, yeah,
Madonna, I think, was the original Lady Gaga in many ways, so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
quite interesting. So, or the big boss has kids that are obsessed with Taylor Swift, and,
yeah,
whatever it might be, it's very difficult to like you mentioned, it's not like a football team where
yeah,
you support Arsenal or Liverpool, and you've
yeah.
already set a division there.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, definitely. And I guess unless you're sort of Oasis and Blur, that could be the only. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. But but yeah,
True.
but no, but yeah, I think that's a really important part of it. So I mean, again, just going back into,
Sure.
what's your favorite experience that you've had with Song Division? Because I know you've been doing this for a
Yeah.
long time now, and you I know you've had a really busy week this week, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got lots of kind of wonderful experiences in the memory bank. What's the one that really sticks out for you, Sam?
Uh, that's a great question. There's been many. Um, I'm gonna give you 2 answers because there's, if hopefully people out there connect with me on LinkedIn, you'll see on my profile pic, I was very fortunate enough to facilitate a 1,500 person event for Virgin Australia,
Mm,
in Brisbane in Queensland, where it was basically Richard Branson was doing a bit of a world tour, going and
Right.
popping into all the headquarters of the big headquarters around the world for the Virgin offices. So they said, what can we do to make this different? And we said, let's get the group to send in some 4-line poems about what they love about working for Virgin.
Hmm.
And then Sir Richard, I should say, he's not going to know about it, which I'm sure he did. And when he comes in, we're going to surprise him and perform this song for him. So, 1,500 people. I think we got about 400 or 500 in submissions, which was nice. And they're very passionate. Well, back then, this particular, it was very passionate. They do have a great culture at Virgin. And, some great lyrics. I still never forget the first line of the song was, "My parents told me I'd be a surgeon. I said, no way, I'm working for Virgin." And so I remember that was the first line of the song. And if you wrote this, if your lyrics made the final song, not only did you get that, you got to be on the stage to perform it with us, and you got a private quick meet and greet with him afterwards and a photo and stuff. So we picked the top 15 poems and we put them into the song, and we got there early, and it was a big barbecue, 1,500 people, and there's video of all this online, and we taught everyone the song. Here's the song you wrote, big cool funky number, taught it to everyone. He comes in on a helicopter, and it's honestly like a Beatles concert. Like, he walks through the audience. He has to, walks through the crowd. He's being clothes ripped off him. It was very funny. And so I'm hosting, and we rocked the song out. And then I don't know why I thought this was probably a terrible idea at the time, but I did say towards the end of the song, "How do you feel about crowd surfing?" And he was totally up for it. So then the next thing I know, he's crowd surfing across the audience, and sort of the people who had booked us, they were like looking shock horror, like if he falls or breaks his hip, we're in big trouble here, as were Song Division at that point. Anyway, all ended well. He managed to get back to the stage, and he was like, "That was cool. Who wrote the song?" And I set up all these people up on the stage, and Richard, being Richard, he went and gave everyone on stage a huge kiss. And at the end, I said, "Well, I actually helped as well," and he gave me a massive kiss, which is my profile picture. So it was it was just one of those moments where it was like, wow, sort of pinch yourself. We don't do a lot in the celebrity world, and we actually also, when we do our events, we don't often want them to be about the CEO. They want to be about the people, and they can suck the energy out of the room. But that particular event, when you're talking about someone of that level, it was very okay. This is, I'm never going to forget this moment.
Yeah.
That was a convoluted story. My quick second answer was, we do quite a fair amount of work with charities and not-for-profits, and specifically with disadvantaged kids. So those events, I'm generally walking away in tears. We worked a lot with Cerebral Palsy Alliance in Australia. We've worked a lot with the Indigenous Mentoring Experience Australia, AIM, writing songs with kids, young Indigenous kids from tough backgrounds, and writing hip-hop tunes with them, using hip-hop as a bit of a connector. Our charity in the UK, for the first 5 years, we were doing ongoing programs with the Teenage Cancer Trust, so survivors of cancer and their family and kids like that. And also another charity very close to my heart is called Electric Umbrella, which isn't actually children. It's anyone of any age with learning disabilities, music workshops for them. So they're all just a whole nother level of special. You walk away just in tears, feeling very grateful for your own life, and seeing the way that you can really, again, we haven't even talked about how music impacts people with those kind of learning, physical and learning disabilities.
Yeah. And again, I guess it just reinforces the inclusivity of
exactly.
Of music. Yeah.
But they're all fun. Honestly, this week has been a blur of fun. So that I feel very lucky. We've had a couple of, we might touch on those. A couple of I don't like to say failures, but a couple of learning experiences too.
Yeah, no, I think I always find it when I always find when I interview people or talk to people any walk of life, if everything's always perfect and everything. So I was going to ask you that actually, and I know you'd kind of given me permission to ask.
Yeah.
Any times where you let's put the positive. Let's use the positive language. What are some of the significant opportunities you've identified where things haven't gone as planned?
100%. I love talking about mistakes and learning and failure, because I think if you're not failing, then you're just not going anywhere.
Trying hard enough. Yeah,
exactly. You're not pushing yourself. So there's probably two. One wasn't really a failure, to be honest, but the client was adamant that they wanted to rewrite the lyrics to famous songs. And
Mm.
we ended up, the client's a client. We do flat out refuse to do it. We just say, well, firstly, you're running into licensing issues to be
Mm.
to be honest, and that gets complicated and messy. But to be honest, you
Mm.
just don't get the sense of pride and achievement. I think in your world,
Mm.
you might disagree, but it's the difference between creating something from scratch, which might look terrible. Like, I'm a terrible drawer, painter, artist, but I did some in lockdown,
Mm.
and what I drew or painted, it looked terrible, but I was so proud of it. I couldn't believe it. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liken it to that difference between that and paint by numbers. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't. Yeah, so we rewrote the lyrics to something like 500 miles, and I just remember, like, it worked, it was fine, but I just remember walking away feeling really flat, and no one walked
Yeah.
out of that
Yeah.
session going, "Wow, we just created something out of nothing," and that was my lyric up there. And look, it wasn't the best song we've ever written, but hey, we did it. It was awesome. So that was a learning.
And
I
and
definitely
and
just
just
say no
I'm
to
gonna
that now.
yeah, I really interrupt you. So, do you think that was born out of a fear of going,
Yeah,
because we get this sometimes, one of the biggest objections we get is, well, will it not seem a little bit childish or a little bit
yeah,
kind of, and I don't, sorry, I'm putting on a
you're right.
patronizing voice way, which I shouldn't do. Will people not find it too childish? Will they not find it too
Mm,
demeaning? Is it not kind of patronizing in some inadvertent way? And which it
yeah.
isn't, but I guess there's a fear of, we want to try this because it's a bit edgy and different, but we don't really want to go too far. Let's do
Yeah,
it something safe, like you'd say, was it born out of that, or was it born out of
I
something
think
else, do you think?
I think so.
Mm.
It was a while ago. I think at the time, even I sort of said, "Oh, I don't really think we should, but if you want to, we will." I think I
Mm.
gave it any thought. It wasn't until we did the session, and it was so much less
Yeah.
rewarding than what we'd done that. But you're probably right. I think there was a
Mm.
fear of, oh, that's pushing them too far out of their
Too
comfort
many
zone.
unknown or too many
Yeah,
variables. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
But like, you hear a famous song, even if you rewrite the lyrics to, let's say, Get Lucky. If I hear Get Lucky again, it's not going to take me back to that conference. It's going to take
No.
me back to the first time I heard
Yeah,
Get Lucky.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
when you hear this song, it was written at that event, so
Mm.
that's the memory.
Mm.
But you're probably right. It was probably the client saying, "Oh, that's a bit pushing them a little bit too far."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then what was the other one?
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
the
then
other yeah, so
and the
the
other
other kind of
one,
learning, yeah.
yeah. Well, funnily enough, actually, this kind of comes full circle to the Virgin event. It was about 6 weeks before the Virgin event, and we have different experiences and different offerings now. We have
Mm.
a much broader range of offerings than we did at the time. But
Mm.
what we did yesterday with this pharmaceutical group is called a team anthem. Works great in a conference ballroom at the start of the day or the end of the day. But we'd sort of decided we were going to do that at a big evening networking event,
Mm.
and it wasn't even an internal event. It was an event for one of the big shopping malls in Australia. It was for their customers, for the people who actually
Yeah.
hire the space, H&M's and the top shops or whatever. It was for them. It was a bit of a thank you and tell you what we're up to in the future of the mall. So these guys had zero interest in writing a song. They were
Mm.
there to have fun, network, have some drinks and whatnot. And so, we thought we'd just do what we do.
Yeah.
Everyone be quiet. We're going to write a song for the next hour or however long, and they're all going to be into it. And people just didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nor should they have wanted to do it. To be fair to them, it wasn't really that.
Yeah.
It was the wrong context for that experience. Now we
Mm.
have a great evening event, which is called a rocking reception, where a song does get created, but it's not okay. Right, everyone sit down. It's time to do work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
roving entertainment, and it's interviewing people and grabbing a few keywords, and it's a couple of QR codes that are optional to go online and fill out a
Yeah.
quick questionnaire, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
so that actually happened, and we thought we need to redesign the Virgin job
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
And so if it wasn't for that job, I'm glad that happened, because if it hadn't happened at the Virgin event, it would have been an absolute disaster. So that's why we decided to use it as a pre-event communication tool, where they wrote the
Yeah.
song before the event. So they
Yeah.
turned it into from an event to a campaign, which was
Yeah.
actually now that's another offering we have. So it was just not fun on the night. Like, honestly, what felt like I felt like 6 hours I was dying up there. It was probably about 10 minutes, but it was tough. It was a tough evening walking away going, that's the first time it really didn't work for me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
No,
hey,
that's good. No, I think that's a, it's a really good way of reflecting on those events, and like you say, kind of using those opportunities to get better.
yeah,
Um, just final question before we wrap up,
yeah,
Sam.
hmm,
You probably similar to us. You get to see some really interesting applications and
yes.
needs that can be satisfied through the work that you do. What are some of the things that organisations are wrestling with that you're uncovering through the work that you're doing at the moment? Obviously, not without naming any names, but some of
No,
the kind of
no.
like themes that you see that are kind of coming to the surface.
I think there's a combination of, well, you'd probably see it as well. There's a lot going on in the world. That's putting it mildly.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
bit happening the
Mm,
last few years,
mm,
and there's tension, and there's division, and there's pandemics, and there's economic hardships, and there's wars, and there's this move from in office work to remote work, and I just feel like there's companies the biggest issue that we're asked to come and help support address is connectivity. I think
mm,
workforces working more from home, people deciding they're going to up and work remotely from Portugal or anywhere in the world, which is great and something I'd toyed with and done a little bit of as well. So how do you keep an organization connected? How do you
mm,
keep an organization aligned to their values? How do you, during lockdown, you saw these companies like Amazon and Zoom, and they hugely grow to deal with the needs of their customers and
mm,
what was happening in the world. So how do you bring those people on and get them on board with the vision and the values? And then, on the other side of the coin, unfortunately, how do you keep staff motivated when you're laying off thousands of people?
mm, mm.
Post pandemic, we saw we did a lot in the tech space with, I won't name them probably, but with those companies, that the big ones that and that was all well and good. And then we thought, oh, great, virtual's going to stick around, but we're going to go back to in person, so we're going to have double the work.
Yeah,
And that didn't happen.
yeah.
Virtuals dropped off, but companies were too afraid to go back to in person straight away and be flying people around the world, because what if there's another pandemic, or what if someone gets sick? Those big companies started doing big layoffs because people weren't at home anymore shopping online or requiring technology that was related to being isolated and at home. And also what happened was companies trying to recoup some of the money they lost, rightly so, upped their prices. So hotels got far more expensive, flights got
Mm,
more expensive, AV got more expensive, and what often we're sort of at the end of that list of needs, team building,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there was just no money left.
yeah,
Companies just couldn't afford it. So that's a challenge in itself. But I think the big, I don't know. Would you agree? I think it's a
yeah.
feeling of like getting people all on the same page and excited and
Yeah,
connected.
yeah, absolutely. You could have almost, I could have like, written it word for word. I mean, I
Yeah,
think, yeah, we there's definitely, I think the paradox is that we've never been more connected, but more disconnected. In that,
exactly.
this
Or
kind of
divided.
whole,
Yeah.
yeah, and just, this whole kind of I do a lot of it's really it never it ceases to amaze me whenever I do face-to-face events, kind of conventional workshops. The first things people do is they'll come down and they'll sit up and open their laptop and
And,
start like
or get on their phone.
yeah, before you've had a chance to kind of say, look, can we put, and I'll eventually get around to saying it, but you kind of think you're all sitting in the same
Mm,
room. You've probably not seen each other face to face for a while, and the first thing you want to do is open up and start staring at your screen again. It's almost like we've
yep.
kind of conditioned ourselves that that's how we work now. And I do
Yeah.
think a lot of people talk about younger people, losing communication skills or not developing them because of the pandemic. I do
Yep.
think some of us have kind of regressed into just we're not actually working unless we're staring at a kind of LED screen. So I think there's again, I think that's a massive thing at the minute, and I think
Mm,
what you do, and I think similarly what we do, and I also agree with you. Yeah, we were an expensive well, not an expensive luxury, or perceived to be an expensive
Yeah.
luxury
Mm.
when people were kind of, like you say, really tightening the belts. And you know, I think that's started to lift now, and people are actually, you know, thinking actually we do need to spend a little, invest in a little bit more of this
Invest.
stuff to connect people together. It is actually, you know, there is a return on investment. It may not be, you know, kind of, it may be a bit kind of a leap of faith in some areas, but it actually, you know, it is the right thing to do. And getting people talking and communicating and kind of making sense of what's going on and helping us to make sense of it. You know, not that we've got the kind of, the senior people have got a monopoly on knowing exactly what the right thing to do is. I think they need help from everyone
I
within the organization. So
I
yeah, I
agree.
think there's a huge um uh sense of that at the moment. And yeah, and it's interesting to hear you sort of talking about that, because it definitely resonates. Not only have we got a similarity in the kind of, you
Yeah.
know, different, kind of converging on a similar, the similar problem, but from kind of with different and
Yeah.
complementary methodologies, but also I think we see similar sort of problems and
Yeah.
challenges.
I
Yeah, yeah,
agree. And I
yeah,
don't and not to, take away from any team building experience, but we often will, maybe lose a job to something, and the brief's perfect, the objectives are great, and then they decide that they're gonna just, send them running around a city in 35-degree heat for 3 hours, and
yeah.
they end up
Agreed.
hating each other.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
ends up having a negative effect, and they're arguing, and,
Exactly. E
but they've gone for the lower price point option, and I think it's had a negative effect.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm reading a book right now, you've probably read it, "To Sell Is Human" by, Daniel Pink, I think it is,
I did,
and
yes, I've not read it. I know I've read Dan Pink's stuff before, though, but
so
yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Anyway, one of the big takeaways from me, which I now am going to start using, is, we might not be the cheapest, but we will cost you the least.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it, isn't it?
I love that,
Yeah,
because we're
yeah,
there to add value. We're not just selling it to make money. We're there because I genuinely believe that we can help enrich the organization, and
yeah.
it's very hard to measure return on investment with what we do.
It was same here.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, but I can guarantee you that cost of what we did yesterday with in Wales, they're going to be walking away feeling like, I hope, going, wow, everyone's excited. The room was buzzing. They're motivated. They're pumped. They remember the key values and key takeaways, and we've done our job. And I just don't think. I think sometimes that organizations that might choose the lower price point options just to fill a 2 hour gap,
yeah.
it's either not done the job or it's done the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think probably, and again, without going into this, I think one
Mm,
of the things again, where we probably have a similar challenge is that it's very difficult to explain what we do. You nearly kind, it's
very,
very experiential, and that
very.
makes it difficult to kind of, you know, because without experiencing it, and I know that's why you run your experiential workshops like the one I
Yeah,
attended. So yeah, it makes
and that
sense.
was
Yeah,
one of the great, one of the few, real upsides to the pandemic was that,
yeah,
we invest all our marketing almost into showcasing, and that's expensive when you've got to get it to try and get people to come to a room and show them what we do. Whereas now, I'll
yeah,
jump on a Zoom with one musician, with a client. If they're not too sure about how it will work, I'll do a demo, and they can
yeah,
go, "Wow, okay,
yeah,
it's on Zoom, but I still
yeah,
get it now."
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And then I guess you can multiply it by tenfold when people are all in the same room, in the same space.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Excellent. Well, look, Sam, I'm going to bring things to a
love it.
wrap. Fantastic conversation. Just
Yeah.
before we kind of, you know, wrap up those, Sam,
Mm.
where can we find out more about you, more about Song Division,
Yeah,
and have you got any
appreciate it.
links that you want me to put into the show
Oh,
notes for people to kind of follow up on?
I'd love that, thank you. Songdivision.com
Yeah,
is the website. It's all everything on socials is at Song Division. We're on the usuals: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, even on TikTok.
yeah.
If you Google Sam McNeil link at LinkedIn, I'll send you my
I'll
URL.
I'll put I'll put I'll put you. I've got your
Yeah,
LinkedIn on the screen. I'll put that.
yeah.
I'll put the link into the show notes for the which is on the our website version of the podcast. So if any of you are listening to this, go to
Oh,
engagingic.com, and you'll see at the bottom on this episode, you'll see Sam's details there, and I'll put the link into
that's
your
great.
website. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much, mate, for your time. It's been really great to meet you and connect with you. And can I make an exclusive announcement?
Go on, yeah, go on. This is not
Which
going to be going out for a few weeks though, so I
That's all
warn you
right.
now. Yeah, if it's time sensitive,
No,
it's gonna, yeah, yeah, yeah,
not particularly.
yeah,
But I know you're big on, well, it's called engaging comms. We have been confirmed and announced for the Institute of Internal Communications Festival.
okay.
So we'll be there doing what we do.
Great. Oh, that will be fantastic. I'm not able to make it this year, but
Oh,
you no, I've been to previous ones, and I think
yeah.
you'll love it, and that'll go down really well. I'm sure you'll get
Mm, I'm
lots of
excited.
people. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, Sam, I can't thank you as you kind of
No,
alluded
thank
to at the
you.
beginning. I know you've come off a really heavy week of work, so the energy and your enthusiasm has been much appreciated,
Hey,
and
you're welcome. You've
kind of
perked me up. I'm feeling good. I'm
good.
back.
Well, there you go. You can head into the weekend with a kind of spring in your step.
100%.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, look, take care, Sam. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, and maybe we'll get you back on the show again at some point in the future, and we can maybe explore another facet of this fantastic work that you do.
Next time I'm bringing the guitar, we'll write a song
So,
on the
yes,
on
that
the
will be.
office. We'll just do that.
I like that idea. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Well, yeah. Watch this space. Okay, Sam.
All
You
right.
take care. All the
Look
best.
after yourself.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Engaging Internal Comms podcast. If you've got any ideas for episodes you'd like us to cover in future, you can email us at info@thebigpicturepeople.co.uk, or you can use the feedback form at engagingic.com. If you're not already subscribed to the show via your podcast platform, please do so. And if you could leave a review for us, that would be absolutely fantastic. We have links to other episodes at engagingic.com. All of our previous episodes are available there. And if you're interested in our visual communication services, our big pictures, our learning maps, our explainer videos, and also our live graphic recording, please get in touch with us again at info@thebigpicturepeople.co.uk. Thank you.